guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
It's a scoop session here with our friend Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department every Tuesday and Thursday. Busy week, boys. Busy week in Minnesota sports. Lynx got screwed already out of a championship. Vikings with 2 games within a handful of days. Timberwolves open up their season tonight. The Wild off to a better than expected start. The Twins officially hired a hitting coach, which we knew last week. But, Duke, let's start. So the Vikings back-to-back primetime games here now officially. So Thursday night against the Rams, obviously that was scheduled. And then the news from yesterday, in case fans missed it, the Week 9 game against the Colts has been flexed to Sunday Night Football. Yeah. Colts are 4-3, competitive. Anthony Richardson, kind of a fun watch, even though he can't complete a pass. But primetime games are racking up here for the 5-1 Vikings.
Bring it on, Phil. Locally, or at least in the Twin Cities viewing area, Fox 9 won the local bidding. So multiple stations put in a bid to have that Vikings-Rams game. Fox 9 ultimately won that bid. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, but you have access to Fox 9, you will have a telecast on Thursday. Looking ahead to November 3rd, you look at that day, to me the premier game is Packers against Lions. But good bet that Fox protected that game. In fact, let me just verify that's Fox, not CBS. Yes, Fox. Looking at the CBS slate, I don't know if CBS would have protected a game. They get Jacksonville, Philadelphia moved to that 3:05 Central Time slot. So yes, Vikings Colts now a 7:20 kickoff on November 3rd. When looking ahead to later in November into December, I imagine at least one more Vikings game will be flexed. Now, when I say that, it could be as simple as noon to 3:25. We do have, when I say we, I'm saying Channel 5, we do have that Vikings-Bears game on Monday night, December 16th. That is not moving.
This is why, too, flex scheduling was created, because it is absolutely, like, we would be stuck with primetime dogs. The 2 games I was told, I checked in to look for yesterday as far as flex possibilities. I think one's a slam dunk. I think one is a little bit more up in the air. But the Falcons game, now the Falcons aren't great, but it's Kirk back here against the Vikings. The Vikings are good. So like the Vikings are now certainly becoming, if they keep this up, a marquee team. And then the slam dunk is December, 29th against the Packers here. I can tell you right now, that is going to Sunday night. That is Miami at Cleveland right now. Miami at Cleveland. Yeah, I wouldn't watch in my backyard. Yes. I wouldn't watch that game if they literally said, we've scheduled the Dolphins and the Browns to play in your backyard. What do you think? I'd be like, that's great. I'm closing the blinds. The other thing, Dukes, is, and this is where it could get interesting, is last year they instituted the ability to flex on Monday and on Thursdays. Now, Thursday is a 28-day window, probably not going to happen. The Monday night thing, though, that flex is in place from weeks 12 through 17 with 12 days notice. I don't think they did it last year, so it's rare, but like there is flexibility now for every primetime package. And the Vikings, being good, certainly have to become a viable candidate for any flex that exists.
Oh, absolutely. Viable candidate. Now, looking at December 8th, right now, Chargers at Chiefs. I don't know if I see
that's going
Falcons,
nowhere.
Vikings getting
no, that's not a Sunday nighter, but my point is, what's the Monday night game? I believe that's in, so the Monday night period, that is, again, weeks 12 through 17.
Okay, so Monday night, December 9th, you have Bengals against Cowboys at 3:25 that day, Bears, Niners. It is a good slate of games on December 8th. So, yes, I love the storyline. We've talked about it for a while. Kirk coming back to U.S. Bank Stadium, but I don't know if that game gets moved, at least to prime time. Maybe there's some maneuverability. Maybe it gets moved to later in the afternoon, but I'm not sure it gets moved to prime time. December 29th, absolutely. I don't even need to look at the slate of games. Vikings, Packers, I think the Packers are going to continue to win enough games. That game will have all sorts of intrigue. In fact, looking at the latest odds this morning, after the Vikings lost, they are now 16-1 to win the NFC. The Green Bay Packers, 14-1. The Lions, and even after a loss, even after losing Brandon Ayuk for the season, the Niners have, depending on how you look at it, significantly better or worse odds. But those teams are above the Vikings and Packers. The Eagles, like the Vikings, also 16-1 or 16-1.
I'm going to ask your opinion on this, and if you've got information to back it up, fire away. But how did your opinion of the Vikings evolve after that game against the Lions?
It didn't. I still feel like the Vikings are a legit Super Bowl contender. That this is the weaker of the two conferences, that on Sunday at US Bank Stadium, I was lucky enough to be there, I witnessed the two best teams in the NFC. Now, I get it. I don't know if I'd want to play the Niners in January, even minus Ayuk, with Christian McCaffrey, imagining they have everybody else available. Philadelphia, with its running game, could also be a tricky matchup. What I saw on the field on Sunday in the second quarter worries me, but I'm positive Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, others, Phil, behind the scenes are pretty darn active heading into that November 5th trade deadline. At this point, I will be surprised if the Cam Akers trade is the only trade they make. Look more so at the defense, not the offense, whether it's cornerback or interior of the defensive line. But my opinion hasn't moved too much. It really hasn't. I still feel like the Vikings, especially with the schedule coming up, it's a very favorable schedule. The Vikings are still well-positioned to win, to me, at least 12 games.
November 5th, how big do you think the splash could be? So if
I
we're
think
talking
it could
about
be pretty big. Yeah, I do,
well, I
Judd.
mean, okay.
Yeah.
Throw
Yeah, I mean,
some
I
names
think
out, recklessly speculate on a Tuesday. Let's pretend it's Thursday.
Here, I'll give you protection.
I would have told you. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, you can protect me, but I would have told you now, hey, a last-second field goal maybe shouldn't change these dynamics, but I would have told you if the Vikings had held on, come back from the 28-17 deficit, win 29-28, are 6-0 today, clear cut, the best team in the NFC with some separation in the NFC North. I mean, the Vikings could be the second best team in the NFC come early January, yet they won't have that 1 seed or that 2 seed or that 3 seed, right? Just unfortunate circumstances with just how stacked the division is. But I'm telling you, like, they are absolutely having discussions. I will be shocked if I hear otherwise. I'm led to believe this, that at least have to consider putting that first-round pick on the table. Here would be the bigger question, because I know you've written about this, Judd, whether it's a Dexter Lawrence or a Jeffrey Simmons, maybe even a J.C. Horn. Do you have to give up the one plus more? And what is that more? For Lawrence, to me, it's also your 2026 first-round pick. I've not heard of that. Well, even on Lawrence, just knowing Andre Patterson enough, the former Vikings defensive line coach, now coaching the defensive line with the New York Giants, he thinks the world of Dexter Lawrence. I'm not suggesting he has like all sorts of power to veto some sort of trade, but I guess I will be surprised if the Giants move Dexter Lawrence. But when hypothetically talking about such a scenario, to me, it's 2 number ones. And I don't know if the Vikings are willing to do that. But that 2025 first, yes, I imagine internally they are discussing that possibility.
Well, I mean, this would be a good week with the Rams and Vikings playing to discuss Kwesi's comments from 2 years ago about sort of scoffing at going full Rams. But isn't that what you have to make a decision on? So this window has burst open quicker than maybe even they thought internally. Although Kevin O'Connell seemed to be telling that team in preseason, we're going to be better than everyone thinks. So maybe they knew. But the window's open, and the window's going to be open next year and the year after. But it's open right now, and we know that. What's more valuable, an established stud player, defensive tackle or cornerback that can help you now and maybe even next year and 2 years, but you give up the first round pick and maybe another first round pick? Or is it more valuable to keep the first round picks, try to nail a player on a rookie scale contract, and then use your salary cap space in March of this year and March of next year? I mean, that's what they have to figure out here, Doogie. Should they go full Rams or half Rams even?
Well, is there a middle ground?
Half Rams.
Is there an interior
Partial Rams.
defensive lineman like a Shelby Harris when looking at that Browns roster, or somebody in Jacksonville where you protect the one, but you still bring in a pretty darn good player? Now, I get it. In terms of draft ammo, the Vikings are lacking in 2025. So there will have to be some creativity, maybe even putting a current player in a package for an interior defensive lineman or a cornerback. But I just wonder if we meet somewhere in the middle. So you ultimately hold on to that 2025 first round pick.
I'm not all for mortgaging your draft picks, okay? But as we discussed in our Purple Daily Unplugged at Padres last night, Dukes, I think that there is a misconception. And allow me to explain it, okay? It's one thing, like in baseball, if you go for it and you take on a bunch of guys whose contracts they're going to expire, right? And now you're trading prospects for guys who might help you win a championship. If they do, that's great. But then they can walk. You know, let's look at what the Rams did. Because, for instance, the one trade that I absolutely applauded that I think was made at the deadline circa 19 or 18 was with the Jaguars, Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey had term left. The Rams, yes, but to consider that a mortgaging of your future to me,
he's part of your future.
Is misleading. You are basically saying we think that this guy is worth X amount of draft picks, including a first round pick. But we are also saying he's so good that we feel that he can make up for the loss of said picks. I think that we're perceiving this as, oh my God, if you go trade 2 first-round picks for Dexter Lawrence, what are you doing? First of all, I've seen this. He's a nose tackle. You don't give up. He's played the 3-tech. He's played nose. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you right now, it's 2024. The position has evolved. This isn't 1997. But the other thing is he's under contract through into his age 30 season, 2027. So, Darren, I don't see this as some great, like, oh, you're mortgaging everything. You're acquiring a guy that you were flat out saying is really good and makes up for the loss of picks. I think we're going down the wrong path here and perceiving full Rams. And I would argue this. I don't even know that Kwesi knew exactly what he was saying back then. He had just gotten the job. He was looking at something that I think he thought, well, this doesn't make sense. But he wasn't in the heat of the moment, which you are now. Like, God is telling you, go for it. Your schedule, you got through the tough part with 5 wins.
Yeah.
Your schedule is not that hard. And we saw again with the Buccaneers, who now are down their 2 best receivers last night and are considered a viable team in the conference, that they ain't that good. So the point is, like, when the football gods say, poke, poke, go for it, and you're like, oh, no, next year is our year, they're going to bite your head off if you don't listen to the football gods. End of rant.
Is plenty fair. Love the rant, Judd. Also, they have maintained health. Now, I get it. Hey, they missed Blake Cashman on Sunday.
Yes.
It's trending toward. We'll get some more clarity today, but if I had to bet in this moment, Blake is unlikely on Thursday. So don't get me wrong. Missing him, but he'll be back. TJ Hawkinson, ready to go. Now, I'm not declaring right this second he is playing on Thursday, but I'm just telling you, he is ready to go. I hope they play him on Thursday. We'll get a little bit more clarity later on today, maybe even into tomorrow, but certainly later today. But you have your health. You look across the league. It's not that way. When you think about Brandon Ayuk, when you think about what we saw on Monday Night Football last night with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin, my God, was that an ugly injury with Chris Godwin, with Aiden Hutchinson. Yes, now's the time to strike in. Can you get Lawrence for a 1 plus something else that isn't the 2026 one?
Yeah, and by the way, let Duke's internet crackling a bit here, so we'll give Dukes a chance to recover the internet. We got some Wolf stuff to get to. Judd, Finch Home Solutions,
yes, sir,
is here to help you with a lot of different things in your home, outside of your home.
Exactly right, including putting lights on your home. And you're saying, well, Sports Dad, of course. I mean, the holidays are coming up. Of course, you're going to do that. And I say, oh, no, Cody Finch and his team. Let me tell you right now that they have gemstone exterior lighting by Finch, high quality, permanent architectural lighting that you can use for every holiday special occasions and game days with a selection of different colors. That's right. These lights are permanent. You can get them as a Christmas gift and say, you know what, they're a Christmas gift, but we can light our house up in purple and Vikings colors all year long. Big game, let's say against the Rams on Thursday. Guess what? Look at the different ways that these lights work. And the best part is you don't have to get up on your house. Once they're in, they are in. Gemstone by Finch are a high-quality exterior light systems designed to match and design and be flexible, usable any time of year. And now you're saying, well, how do I get them? FinchHomeSolutions.com. Just check them out. FinchHomeSolutions.com. Cody and his team, they can take care of any electrical issues that you have. But if you want those permanent lights for Christmas one day and a football game the next, Finch Home Solutions takes care of you.
Also, a shout out to Nicolay Law, the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily, and also other SKOR North podcasts such as Mackie and Judd. Nicolay Law knows that when you or a loved one gets hurt, ordinary life can come to a stop and things can get complicated. That's where Russell Nicolay and his team of local servants come in. They're just your normal everyday folks at Nicolay Law who happen to have law degrees to help you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers, NicolayLaw.com, or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. I think we got Doogs back here. Hello, Darren.
I hope so. The gremlins are alive and well in late October. I apologize.
It's all good. Timberwolves open up tonight. Yeah, any just thoughts or feelings on it? Seems like the roster is deep. We don't yet know fully how Julius Randle is going to integrate into this thing. It seems like Dante DiVincenzo is going to be just seamless. But this is officially Anthony Edwards' team with a bunch of really good players around him. So your thoughts going into the Wolves opener in LA tonight?
One of those really good players around him, Phil, is Rudy Gobert. Opening night is not any sort of deadline to work out an extension. Mike Conley Jr.'s extension happened in season last year. Those negotiations will continue. Mutual interest, both sides. I can see that deal getting worked out later on. I am curious to see, we talked about this with the Vikings, can the Wolves maintain the health they had last year? Mike Inori brought that up with me the other day in a one-on-one conversation. Yes, we all remember the cat injury, that setback, missing multiple weeks. But, comparatively speaking, the Wolves were pretty darn healthy last year. Can they be as healthy this year? Can the offense jump up from bottom half of the league, upper bottom half, but bottom half of the league to top 10? Micah talked about that. You look at the past, any number of champions, more than likely that champion was top 10 defense, top 10 offense. We know the Wolves can be a top 10 defense. We saw it last year, top 5, top 2, top number 1, right? But can they make that leap on offense? They feel confident with Randall, with DiVincenzo. They can do that. I am very excited. You think about this early stretch at the LA Lakers, at Sacramento, a week from tomorrow, host Denver. If you're going to win 52, 53, 54 games, maybe even perhaps more, you probably have a winning record in these 3 games, these first 10 days. So I'm very curious to see even these first 2 games, tonight and Thursday, how the Wolves do.
Dukes, what's your opinion, too, about the conference as well? Like the competitiveness, what this is going to take as far as, because I think the Wolves, I mean, knock on wood, I think that they're going to make the playoffs, certainly, and they're not going to have to be in the play-in. But just as far as the conference goes, what are your thoughts on it?
I won't be shocked, Judd, if the separation between seeds 4 and 12, which means you don't even make the play-in,
right,
is 5 to 6 games, maybe 7 at the most. That's how competitive, to me, the top 12 in the conference will be. I think Memphis is markedly better. Now, it's unfortunate Jaren Jackson Jr. has a little bit of an injury setback, so he's not quite ready to go. Ja Morant, can he stay healthy? But I just think Memphis is really good. I think Udoka is a really, really good coach in Houston. Yeah, did some stupid stuff away from the court in Boston. But that man can coach. I think the Houston Rockets are going to be a lot better. Wemby is the real deal. We all know that, right? Chris Paul is going to help. They need to get back Vassell, but he's not going to be out a long time. The Spurs are going to be better. New Orleans, Phoenix, the Clippers, I get it. Kawhi not there. You lose Paul George, but they're still pretty good. How do the Lakers end up? The Nuggets, how much do they miss Kentavious Caldwell-Pope? My guy Sean Sweeney, Jason Kidd, Dallas is going to be really, really good again. I think Phoenix is going to make a jump up. I actually like what Golden State did. Klay Thompson wasn't all that good last year.
Yeah, I agree.
Bringing in Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton, plus Kyle Anderson, at least in the preseason, was making threes.
His
shot
trigger's
like
quicker.
It's been fixed.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think Golden State is going to be pretty darn good. This conference is a freaking bear. But I like the Wolves. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Wolves are above the play, and the question is, can they be a top 4 seed like last year? You fall back a couple games. That's the difference between 4 seed or 3 seed or like 6 seed. And so I think they are going to be a top 6 team, but I wonder if it's like the 5 or 6 seed, not the 2 or 3 seed.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how Finchy handles the rotation here too, because provided health, you're starting 5. Okay, Gobert, Julius Randle, Jaden, Ant, Conley, and then Nasri, DiVincenzo are both going to be in the mix for 6th man of the year, just on paper going into the season. Nickeil Alexander-Walker they might have overextended him a little bit at the end of last year, but he's going to be very much in the mix. So that's 8 guys if healthy, are going to be playing fairly heavy minutes. But then you've got for like 9, 10, 11, 12, and generally you're not playing more than 10 guys in an NBA game outside of garbage time. You've got your 2 first-round picks in Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. You've got the wily veteran 3-point gunner and Joe Ingles. But then Josh Minott and Luka Garza have been the most impressive the last 2 or 3 years, just development guys who looked really good in the preseason again. So that gets you to 13 right there of guys that probably deserve minutes, but you're not playing 13 dudes in an NBA basketball game, Doogie. You're going to play probably 10. So I don't know. How does that sort out, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it'll be matchup dependent. Like Josh Minott is going to get some minutes depending on opponent. But yeah, what is that cutoff? Because we know 6, 7, 8 is Dante, Nickeil, Nas. Okay, so who then slots in after that? Like, I'm not sure Joe Ingles is going to play heavy minutes, but matchup dependent, it might be Ingles over Minott. Yeah, where does Rob Dillingham come into play? We know DiVincenzo is the backup point guard, but to me, you want to give Rob at least a little bit of an opportunity. So I think it'll play itself out. Like, I don't know if like Chris Finch has like this script like fully laid out for tonight, has an idea for Thursday, but I'm just telling you, Josh Minott impressed them enough where I don't think he's just going to be sitting on the bench tonight, Thursday, Saturday, into next week. By the way, it probably goes without saying when they were the 1 seed last year, but I didn't even mention Oklahoma City. I just think Oklahoma City is really, really good. Now, hey, the big man being hurt, is it Hartenstein or Steen? I don't even know. Whichever one it is.
I believe it's Hartenstein with a little on the little like a hidden H in there, depending on where you're from. So
that's a stinky setback for them. But to me, Holmgren will be that much better this year. Jalen Williams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think that Oklahoma City Thunder team is the real deal. Once again, to me, they are the best team in the Western Conference.
Yeah. Let's go through the rest of your scoop bag here, Dukes. What else do you want to throw out on this Tuesday episode?
So there will be some sort of EA Sports announcement tied to Justin Jefferson on Thursday. So reckless speculation umbrella. My boys told me this morning he's got a 98 Madden rating. Could that be moving up? I don't know, but there is going to be, the headline is from this note, there is going to be an announcement by EA Sports tied to Justin Jefferson later this week. The Vikings, Cowboys, Bills, and Giants will have scouting representation at Huntington Bank Stadium on Saturday for the Gophers against Maryland. That's all I've got written down. We mentioned the Channel 9 note. So locally, if you're in the Twin Cities viewing area. So when I say locally, you could be an hour and a half from the Twin Cities, 2 hours. But if you get Fox 9, you will have coverage of Vikings Rams on Thursday night.
Love it. He is Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. Little scoop session here on this Tuesday. Good stuff, Doogs.
Okay, boys. Take it easy.
All right, we'll see you in a couple days here. Yeah, super busy week. And by the way, if you haven't been checking out Flagrant Howls going into the Wolves season, that is going to be your Timberwolves lifestyle podcast. Kyle Teige is actually out there in LA for the game, so we'll catch up with him this week. Judd, you and I will do a recap tomorrow morning. Wolves,
Kyle's
Lakers.
Incredible. God bless him.
He's a renaissance man.
He really is. Man's on a plane all the time.
My sources tell me that Kyle was at, is it Mastro's in LA last night with some Wolves luminaries having a 3.5-hour dinner.
Oh, how's Craig
rubbing
doing?
elbows.
How's Craig?
I don't think Craig was there.
Oh, you don't think Kilby was there?
Although, since you brought him up, I have 6 unread text messages here from Kilby. Very excited about the Wolves season.
I love that man.
He's going to be there tonight.
I love him because he's beyond rich, and he just sort of said, I'm going to enjoy life.
He goes, yes, it's the lifestyle we all aspire to.
Yeah,
I think I'm okay reading this text. Yeah. He goes, I'm just worried. Who's going to guard Bronny tonight?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Anytime.
That's a great question.
I see Old School on TV, and his just horrible D-bag role in Old School is one of my all-time favorite character roles ever, dude. It's so good.
It's such a great movie, man. So yeah, the Wolves tonight, Flagrant Howls. If you haven't, Apple, Spotify, and the SKOR North YouTube channel, we will be your guide throughout this season. Plus, Judd's Hockey Show is rocking a fun, wild start. Purple Daily, obviously, with the Vikings being 5-1. So yeah, SKORNorth.com and the SKOR North app for a full menu of everything we do.
Twin show.
Gabrick.
Where's Yen Jane?